All right, we are live a minute early, but we're live nonetheless. So welcome to the November 2025 LinkedBanker Happy Hour. I'm excited to join you all and see what's on your mind, catch up. We're just going to give it some time for folks to hop in, and if you want to come up on stage, quote unquote, with me. If you are interested in doing that, pop over to www.thelinkedbanker.com/happy hour. And there's a link right on that page to join the live conversation. And you'll show up in my little dashboard here, and I can get you added as a panelist and participant in today's discussion. So let's give it a minute. I got a few things that I want to chat about. And as is always the case, I'm curious on what you all want to chat about, because that's what a happy hour is all about, is just getting together and having chit chats. So let's give it a minute and see how your November's going and what's on the schedule for the rest of the year. And it'll be 2026 before we know it. I can't believe how fast the year has flown by, but that's all good. So, all right. Just waiting patiently for the room to fill up, or for one other person to at least join. While we're waiting, let me go ahead and just provide some housekeeping items. So I've got the link there on the screen if you're interested in participating live. This is a live event. I run these through a platform called Restream. If you've never done a live event before on LinkedIn, that's one of the requirements, is you have to use a streaming service like Restream, or there's a variety of others. Gives you the advantage of actually streaming that out to other platforms at the same time. So you may be watching this on LinkedIn, but you also might be watching it on my personal Facebook profile. You might be watching it on our LinkedBanker YouTube channel. Gives you the ability to push out your live feed across multiple platforms, which is pretty cool. I recently had a question from someone who was curious why I chose to do these happy hours on LinkedIn versus just doing them as a regular Zoom session. And I never really thought about that. We started these happy hour sessions as sessions that were originally just audio only. Some of you might remember the platform called Clubhouse that came along in COVID time with drop-in audio. Is invite only. You had to have an iOS device. Reminds me that shortly thereafter is when I actually got an iPhone, because I had to get basically into Clubhouse using my iPad. I was still using an Android device. And so we started these as audio only events just to experiment with connecting with people through LinkedIn using audio technology. And then they discontinued the audio event. For a while, I thought it was going to be the end of the world, but it actually wasn't terrible. And we switched over to the live video events, which now we've been doing. This will be kind of wrapping up a whole year. We had to start doing these in January, and I wasn't quite sure how they were going. But now we can get people that actually come up on stage, and I see that we have someone, I don't know if it's necessarily a stage, came on camera joining me, but Sharon Dye is here. So hello, Sharon. How are you?
I'm well, and I'm loving the fact that I get to be wrapped up in soft, cozy clothes in colder and colder weather.
It is nice to be able to put on a sweatshirt and not feel like you're gonna, sweat a lot. Yeah. It's right. I do enjoy fall. It's a wonderful time. So I just provide a little backstory around live events, and I got a question from someone about why LinkedIn live events versus Zoom. So let me finish that thought, and then we'll toss it over to you. I'm glad that you're here, because we've got a few things to talk about, because you're going to be back with us again next week, where I'll be doing this from Massachusetts. I'm actually coming to you from Iowa today. I had a conference here for the Iowa Bankers Association. But the advantage, I think, of using a platform like Restream and going live on LinkedIn or any other platform, one, as I already alluded to it, you can go live in multiple places. It doesn't necessarily require a registration like with a Zoom, although you could just publish a Zoom link and say, hey, everybody hop into Zoom if you wanted to. But when that Zoom is done, Zoom has the recording, and then you can obviously pull that down and post it wherever you want. But the thing that's really nice about doing live events on a social platform using a streaming service like this is when this event is over, whatever platforms I'm streaming live to automatically have that as a post. So when we're done today and any of the other days that I've done these, and they're always, I say always, unless there's a scheduling conflict, because I have had to change, I think, one or two. But when they're scheduled, they show up. So if you were to go to my LinkedIn profile and go back through my content and go to the last month's second Thursday of the month at 5 p.m. Eastern time, you would see a post at 6 o'clock of the actual video when it's done. And then that gives everybody the ability to check it out. So as you're adding conversation, you're talking about things, you're sharing stuff that your ideal audience, your customer persona, or whoever you want to network and connect with on the socials, visit your profile, they can see you having those conversations and what you're talking about. And that's a really great way of adding social content to your various platforms without feeling like you have to type it all out. You can trip over your tongue every once in a while, which is a really popular thing for me to do sometimes, but it is what it is. So been really enjoying them, and we're kind of in a groove now, and the team's got a good process down. There's certainly other things that you could do with a live event. You could extract the audio if you wanted to turn it actually into a podcast and pull the audio down and push it out into some sort of a podcasting player. There might even be a way you could automate that. I've not explored it, but that might be the case. But it just makes it really easy to create conversational content. The other assurance is this is not AI generated. This is definitely Eric generated, because if it were AI generated, it would be a whole lot more perfect and on point and not nearly as many oopses and stumbles along the way. So it still has very much a human element to it. And I have no idea what people are going to ask or what conversations are going to be sparked. So that's another really important thing to any sort of a live event, whether they're in person or virtual, is that spontaneity. Because I think people are going to get saturated with all the amazing, helpful, powerful AI content, but they're going to want to be able to have that human conversation, which is why I'm really glad that a fellow human actually joined me today, and I didn't have to ramble on for an entire hour by myself. So Sharon, joining with your snugglies on. First off, what's on your mind? What have you been thinking about lately? What do you got anything in particular you want to chat about? And then we can maybe do a big reveal of our monthly mastermind topic, and you can share some insight into what you're going to be wowing our LinkedBanker members with.
Well, sure. So it's funny you mentioned that.
Right? That was
What?
a lot. I always
That
ask multiple framed questions.
was a lot.
Yeah.
I was only half listening, so not to worry about it. I'll just answer what I want, what I listen to.
Perfect. Nobody listens to me anyway.
There you go. I loved what you said, the one part I did listen to, about
The one part.
the reality of doing a live event means it, here we are, mistakes and all. The this is the whatever. I've been thinking a lot lately that we unintentionally, I think, keep moving a lot further away from the acceptance of that reality. I'm going to say the word wrong. I'm going to say it differently than I wish I had. Whatever it is, I'm going to trip over my tongue. I'm going to do all that. Those are such tiny, minor mistakes. And the more we keep getting AI perfect, I'm a massive user of AI, so I love it. But the more we keep wanting it all to be perfect, the less accepting we are that,
Yep.
As mere mortals, we're not. And when we stop being accepting of just these little foibles, whatever they may be, imagine what's going to happen when we have, the big kahuna foible. And so I love the fact that this is live. And even though over dinner tonight, I'm going to be thinking about how I could have said this better.
Because you're human and that's what you do. Yeah. Right. I love picking fights with my Grammarly. When I write something and I put it into an email or I'm doing a blog post and it starts underlining stuff, I don't argue all the time. And there's some of them that, oops, I accidentally typed the twice. I don't know why I do that, but I seem to have, I'll get going and then I'll stop and then I'll start again, but not realize that I typed the last word of my brain. So it catches those just dumb things, which is great. But when it wants to rephrase things because maybe it's the appropriate sentence with verb and whatever structure that an English teacher would want, I say, would I talk that way if I was talking with somebody? No. So I'm going to leave it. And I think that's one of the signs when you read something that's too perfect, especially if it's from someone that doesn't talk that way. I like it when I'm voice dictating and I say, I'm gonna look forward to and it types out gonna, Gonna. And I leave that on my blog post. And I know that's not appropriate. And Mrs. Grove from English in school would have a heart attack if she saw that. But that's how I talk. And that's what's going in. And so they're very humanizing, which is great. So
I'm not going to change it, and you can't gonna make me.
You can't gonna make me. I love it. Yeah. So very cool. Well, the one thing that I wanted to share, and so these happy hours are brought to you by the LinkedBanker, which is one of our companies. We have WSI, which is Cook Technology Solutions, that does stuff for banks, digital, web, social, SEO, AI, all that stuff. But then the LinkedBanker is a mentoring community that we created back in 2020 designed to help bankers figure out how to build their personal brand. And so over the years, we've been having these monthly mastermind sessions, and I am very fortunate to know a ton of amazing people who have really great insight and can help bankers figure things out, be more relevant, be that subject matter expert. And so I tapped Sharon to be our monthly mastermind guest next week. So our members in the LinkedBanker community are actually going to get an opportunity to spend an hour with you talking about, and I won't give the title away, but it has something to do with 5th grade math. So talk to me a little bit about what that means and a little bit about culture and some of the stuff, because you and I both teach at Pacific Coast Banking School. This is a session we teach at the same time, so I don't get to go to your class, and I would love to. So this would be like a first time, but I heard all the students, and when I asked the question at the end of my class, what other classes have you loved? Your name came up a lot from some of the other bankers that were able to take your elective opposite of mine. So I'm excited to learn, but with that long-winded intro, what the hell are we going to talk about on Wednesday next week?
Well, lucky for you, I know the answer to that one.
And there's going to be no judgment if it's not grammatically correct or you stumble on your tongue. So
that's great, because I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that.
Good. Well played. Well played.
Thank you. So I have a few kind of passions and missions in life. And one of them is to demystify corporate culture, and get it out of, the complicated, we don't really know how to define it, or we have credenza art. And so now we've done what we need to do to define it. I think it is one of the top 3 most potent, powerful, leverage things that a bank can have. And when you understand its powerful simplicity, and then your role as a leader in that powerful simplicity, truly your competition is really going to be hurting. They're really going to be looking at you through their windshield, not their rearview mirror. There's massive evidence that has been quantified, because numbers are important. There have been massive evidence that shows if you follow a really simple formula, you dramatically increase all the things you want to increase, and you decrease all the things you want to decrease. And so I just have a huge passion to help leaders in the making understand what culture is. It's a one sentence definition. It's easy to understand, and then the role to play in that. So that's what we're going to talk about next week.
Cool.
Is how to make sure it's earning you business, your internal culture.
Yeah.
Which isn't about people getting a birthday card, although, that's a nice thing to do, but
Those are nice, but yeah, it's more than that. So,
yeah.
Well, I can tell you, I've had some conversations with some of the members, and I'm not going to name any names or get anybody in trouble or make things uncomfortable, but I've talked with some of the members, and I know that struggling with the internal culture, people's acceptance of change, the way that they deal with it, I know you might be the head of lending, or you might be the HR manager, or you might be compliance or marketing, but I'm the boss, and this is the way I think it needs to be done. So just do it that way. And creating very uncomfortable environments, which is unfortunate, because then you've got two options. One is, if that's a toxic, consistent thing that is impacting not just you, but other people. And the problem is that person, if that person isn't removed from the situation, it's like a cancer that festers and can infect other areas. And before you know it, now you've got a really big problem. Or is it just a one-on-one thing, and there's an interpersonal challenge that exists that just needs to be addressed and clarified? And I've seen it from both. I talked to a banker that it was almost like they were singing "Ding Dong, the Witch is Dead." The individual was finally called out by realizing that this person should have been gone a long time ago. And when that person was finally exited from the organization, everybody just breathed a sigh of relief. And senior manager was like, "Oh, maybe that could have been our reason for excessive turnover." And people were saying it, but it was almost like nobody wanted to admit it. Long-term employee, been there, lots of institutional memory. We can't afford to lose them. But the organization is so much better. And you can see it in my friend's eyes and their body posture and just their demeanor. Like, you win the lottery or something? What's going on? Why are you so chipper? And that's the reason. And it's amazing how much that can make an impact in just your life. Because we work a lot more than we don't work, especially, before. So we got to have a culture that allows for it.
I do agree. Obviously, I definitely agree. We work a lot more than we don't. But I think the other reality is most people, I'm 35 years in doing what I'm doing. I've done it around the globe. My experience has been most people, and by that I mean 97% at least,
go
to work because they really want to do a good job. Now, they may muck it up because they don't know what the hell they're doing and they don't know how they're mucking it up. I'm not saying they're not, passionate but stupid, or unaware. But most people that I meet actually want to go to work and do a good job. They want to invest in where they're working as they are being invested in with a paycheck.
Yep.
And so when you are in a situation where you have toxicity from one individual or just a system of things, when you have that, it's stealing a lot more than your time. And time tends to be pretty unforgiving. It doesn't pay back. It doesn't do that well. We might find tricks through some things to do a bit of payback, but time tends to not want to pay a lot back. It extracts what it extracts. You've done what you've done with it. And I think that a lot of people, that heavy weight, you know, that you saw in your friend, the shoulders that were either tense up or drooped down, you know,
Yep.
and the eyes that started looking dead, that the person that needed to go a long time ago, all that they were creating took a lot more from your friend than just the clocking in and clocking out and the time they were at the office.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Took
Because
my
they carry
care,
that back.
emotional well-being.
They carry that back to their family. They carry that back to their friends.
Yeah.
Now they're disengaged at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very real thing.
Yeah.
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 We just, in particularly, it's true in North America. It's more true in North America, in my experience, than other places, you know, so insert continuum here.
Mm-hmm.
We tend to do it backwards. We tend to hire quick and fire slow, and we really should reverse, you know, unplug and reverse those wires
Right.
and hire very slowly, painfully slow. We should just really be brutally slow in hiring, except in cases of emergency, and those are few. And we should be ruthlessly quick to say, we're not for you and you're not for us anymore.
Yep.
A long time ago, I wrote an article, was asked to write an article, and I named the article, you can plant an orchid in the desert, but why? And it just takes a lot of effort to keep someone who doesn't fit, and, you know, akin to planting an orchid in the Sahara Desert. You could keep it alive, but boy, you got to spend a lot of time and money that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So cool. I thought you were gonna when you're saying compared to the United States and others, I thought you were gonna go down the vacation road, because they all know how to vacation a whole lot better than us too. So
different relationship to work. Yeah. We live to work, and the rest of the world pretty much works to live.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. So yeah. So cool. Well, I'm super excited that you're going to be joining us. Hopefully I didn't steal much of your thunder for our session with our members. I've got a little link up there on the screen. If you're interested in becoming part of our LinkedBanker community, there's a join page that you can get access to. I'd love to share some info. There's a video on that page that gives you a little behind the scenes. We've got a private networking community, very similar to like a private LinkedIn or a Facebook, but it's only the members of the LinkedBanker community that have access to it. And there's access to all of the monthly mastermind recordings and other resources that we put together to help be a better banker for your customers and your community and the prospects and the people that you want to serve. So you feel free to check that out, and would love to get your opinions and thoughts. So we did get another question from Neil. First off, Neil, I'm a little bummed out that you're not coming up on camera with us and being part of the conversation. That normally happens, but you must be in an area. We did talk about this a little bit at the beginning. So the individual in reference, we did have a nice email correspondence back and forth and talked a little bit about why we've chosen to do our webinars here on a LinkedIn Live event, and streaming capabilities, multi-platform access, the creation of content. Those are all items that I talked about. So I think you might have just mistakenly joined a little late, but yeah, appreciate putting us in touch, and had a nice back and forth there, which was really good. So thank you so much for that. So back, I'll just post the join link there, and if anybody's interested, you can pop over there to check it out. A couple of other things that I wanted to talk about. I feel like I'm kind of merging the streams on my banking schools here, but I know we've basically become to know of one another through the Pacific Coast Banking School out in Seattle. But I also do a lot, and I'm a graduate from the Graduate School of Banking in Madison, Wisconsin. And coming up the second week of December, I'm really excited that GSB is going to be doing an online AI symposium, seminar, training session that is going to include 9 sessions. Cost is about $1,900 for the bank to register, and the bank gets a link to a private Zoom that anyone in the organization can use. And so this is a really good thing. My session today here in Iowa was about AI in banking. Shocker, right? But GSB was here. They were the sponsor to the reception yesterday that kicked things off. and kind of made mention of it. But similar to the digital banking school that I get to work with GSB on, the one bank membership, but all participate, anybody can join, is a great way, because kind of tying in, and I wasn't planning on this being part of the conversation, but this is why I love these live events, because serendipity brings stuff together and connects the dots. I've been starting to talk more about AI being much more of a change management and a culture, a human problem or issue or opportunity, than it is one from a technology perspective. Granted, you got to fix the technology, make sure that it works and it's secure, and those are, but people understanding how to use AI, it's different. It is a thought partner. It's not a tool like a software we've ever used before. And humans are going to have to do things differently. We're intimidated by it. We're scared of it. We don't want to talk to it because we're afraid it's going to take our job if it knows what we do better than what we do. And so the cool part about this program with GSB is everyone in the organization has the opportunity to sit in on these 9 sessions. Now, granted, the bank's not going to close down and have everybody just sit on 2-hour webinars twice a day, but the recordings are available. Marketing can sit in on compliance. Cybersecurity can sit in on the data. Senior management can sit on HR. There's a very wide range of topics, all related to artificial intelligence in the banking industry. So if you're interested in checking that out, you can pop over to gsb.org, and in the education link, the seminars, and the drop-down menu, you'll see the AI session there, and you can go through that process. But to have as many people in your organization be able to go through that process, when we did the digital banking school and we launched that back in 2020, the culture epiphany was one of the things that I did not expect. With digital transformation, I was fully expecting, you got to pick the right core. Are you going to be a fintech partner? Who you got doing your loan application system? What chatbots are you using? I was still very much focused on the technology and the tools. And I sat through the culture section and quickly realized that regardless of what tools you have, if the people aren't on board to use it and to lean into it and to accept it, you're never going to get adoption. People factor with any initiative, technology or otherwise, is going to be the linchpin in either making it work or breaking, and it all falls apart. So that's coming up in December. Registration's open until December 1st. So check it out. And if you got any questions about that program, feel free to hit me up. I would love to chat with you about that. And Neil, who I just mentioned in a comment and shamed him for not coming up on video, is actually also one of the fellow instructors at that program. So Ben Udell from Marquee and Chad Knutson from SBS Cybersecurity are the 2 others that have been working alongside me. So the 3 of us, as Mary from GSB refers to us as the AI guys, we've been working on the curriculum and finding instructors, and I think we've got an amazing lineup. So I'm pretty pumped for that. December is going to be a pretty cool month, helping banks head into 2026 with a little bit more comfort as it relates to artificial intelligence.
Do you have T-shirts with a logo for the AI guys?
I know I don't, although we talked about that. We did a little pre-session like info webinar today, and we kind of bantered back and forth that maybe we need to create some sort of an animated thingamajigger. So maybe I'll babyfy Chad and Ben, and we'll create some animated babies that can play around. So, but yeah, the AI guys, that'd be kind of cool. We should do, yeah. So, I'm just kind of running down my list of things to talk about. I can toss it back into your lap. What else is on your mind? Anything else you want to chat about?
Yes, I would love to chat about what you just talked about, that whatever wonderful thing the bank is doing, or the world, AI, as kind of worldwide, the hook will always be, the hiccup, the catch, whatever word you want to use, will always be the people part. And we people tend to be wily. And we talk about us being unpredictable. We are so predictable. So maybe sometime in another time, we'll talk about the neuroscience behind what it takes to get us to move through hell no to wow, I don't know why we didn't do this sooner. But is this one of your AI brethren?
Yeah, this is Neil, who I've been shaming gently
Yeah.
and
At some
softly.
point,
Yeah,
you just got to participate.
yeah,
I just had to
exactly. I
jump in.
see you. I know you're there. You had to make a comment, so I knew that you were
Right. If
hovering
I'd have
around
just
in the room.
kept quiet on the comments, I'd have been okay. But
Yeah, because I can't see those. But as soon as you make a comment, which by the way, RJ, you're next on my list, buddy. So you need to hit that link up, figure out a way that you can, bust in here and come up on stage. I know you're doing a lot of cool stuff in AI and talking to banks. So I'm just going to throw it out there. But thank you, Neil, for coming up. So,
always happy
but
to.
Sharon, to your point, you talked about they are very predictable, and I think. I almost think of like a barbell when I hear that, because in one way, and I have a psychology degree from undergrad, which was eons ago. I don't think that necessarily makes me a psychological expert, but I do know based off of that, I learned that there are a lot of things that we do that we just don't know why we do them. Mm. But there are also things that are also highly predictable. And I think those get kind of ignored. And I don't know as if there's any other insights, or if there's just like one example that you can give as an obvious, like, this is what you would do in this situation. This is really predictable. This is how we're going to, and does it go back to our lizard brain? Was that the amygdala or whatever? Amygdala. Yeah, exactly. So anything pop into your brain, lizard brain or otherwise, that would be an example of a highly predictable thing?
Yeah. So there's a distinction I'm making between what we would do from a neuroscience, the brain itself does, versus the psychology of it. It's the psychology part that's unpredictable. Neil has life experiences that I don't have.
Yep.
So we could face the exact same change, and there are certain things that would be 100% predictable. Then there are going to be those unpredictable things because Neil has a different life experience than Sharon. So it could be a no big deal change to me, and it could be just rocking Neil's world. And the only reason for the difference is the psychology component. What makes Neil different from Sharon being Sharon, which is life experiences, who raised you, what you had for lunch, how well you slept last night, whatever. Neurologically speaking, the exact same thing is going to happen first, in the presence of a change. The same thing will happen in Neil, will happen in you, Eric, and will happen in me. And that is that primitive lizard brain you're talking about. It comes online first, always. And it has the exact same response to change in every human, every time. And it says no. Now, I don't know how strong that no is going to be. Neil's might be a hell no. Mine might be a soft no. Yours might be a medium no. Goldilocks is going to come in here. I don't know what it's going to be, but it is going to be no. And the reason it's going to be no is that part of your brain is responsible for making sure you survive. And the only way it can do its job is to not let anything change, because you have survived everything you've been through up through 5:33 p.m. on whatever today's date is. Tiny thing changes and all of a sudden its job security is in jeopardy because it can't guarantee. So it's going to say no. And there's just one wonderful thing that every leader can do for those who follow, or we can do for ourselves, to tell that part of the brain, gotcha, and we're going to keep moving forward. But it's predictable. It happens every time.
Interesting. Yeah. I guess I wasn't thinking of the distinction, but I can see that now. So
it's an important distinction because we get really wound up in it's different. Then we got to get our change champions. We got to get people to go drink Kool-Aid. We can integrate a change without ever liking it or agreeing with it. We've all done it. As an adult, we all do things that we don't fully agree with or we don't like, and we've integrated them in our life and we just move on. Everyone thinks we got to get everyone loving a change or liking a change and being a champion for it. And you don't have to do that. It's a lot of energy and effort. And again, time is, it's not overly forgiving. It doesn't pay back. So don't spend the time trying to get everyone drinking Kool-Aid and convincing them. It won't work anyway.
Gotcha.
And then we just make people be liars and have facades, and then they need therapists. And now we're back to the psychology part.
And that's what makes the world go round.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
I
So
think that's a really interesting point. And I always struggle with, the discretionary effort, because when I see people use discretionary effort to do things, it's above and beyond the expectations. And that's when I see the most productivity. But that's not really counter to what you said, but I think both two things can be right at the same time. I think you're right. And yet I just love getting in the channel where somebody is going above and beyond with the energy. And that's why we always want to make everybody drink the Kool-Aid. But the realization and the reality is, you're right, that they aren't all going to. Sometimes you just have to do it.
yep.
And I think it's a different way of using the discretionary energy. So don't bullshit people, and they're far more likely to throw in discretionary energy and go for it and say, look, let everyone, we got to stay till midnight because this has to get done. Come on, we can do it. Do I like it? No, but I'm in here and I'm doing it and I'm giving it to you. I just think it's a different way to engage that discretionary energy that's more likely to happen more often if I don't make it about drinking the Kool-Aid all the time.
Yep. Cool. Love it. Love it. So Neil, now that I've shamed you into turning on your camera and joining the conversation, I suspect you may have something you want to talk about, unless it's just to, poke me back and then go off camera again. So
I put a shirt on, and I thought I'll turn on the camera, and but I don't really have like.
Did you button it the right way? I'm just looking to make sure.
I think it looks like it's squared up.
Yeah,
okay.
they're lined up. I've seen that.
Yeah. So, when you work at home, you don't always get ready for being on camera, and particularly on a casual day. But
hey, I did my hair to be here, so I'm just gonna say that.
No comments about hair. I'm just not going to go there with you. But so I am excited about the Graduate School of Banking's summit. When you mentioned that, I thought, oh yeah, I'm a participant in that. But I'm telling you, I'm so glad that you and Ben are the leaders of that. Because quite honestly, I'm just going to regurgitate things I learned from Ben and Ben Udell and Eric Cook. So you guys, I am so excited about using tools like Notebook LM and Claude and Grok, and I've learned so much from using one tool and taking the results of it and having it validate or critique it in another tool. And just like I would a team. And sometimes the team gets offended because my personal team, like, why are you favoring them versus me? But the AIs never get offended when you challenge, hey, critique this or critique that. They're like, they don't ask, well, why didn't you ask me first?
You're talking to Gemini again, huh? I see how it is. Yeah. Grok
so,
doesn't care.
And I love my personal, my human team. I want to be clear about that, but at the same time, it takes so much more energy than it does working with some of these AIs. And the ability to create the podcasts and the videos and all of that, I didn't even know it was there. And I started working with it, and it does quizzes and it does mind maps, and I'm like, oh wow, this is a whole very powerful thing. So my job, my role at the Graduate School of Banking, I'm on the last day before the conclusion, is to try to kind of put together how financial institutions leaders can use these tools to think about things that they might just go to a focus group or go to other places, round up their executive team, and using this, they can get so much thought energy that they then can decide what to do in terms of delegating that to their team. So anyway, thank you for the opportunity.
You bet. And you sparked a thought. One of the things that our human team also may not be good at, because they're human and they don't want to hurt our feelings, is giving like tough love advice. And one of the things that I do after I present, what I've been doing, assuming the conference organizer is cool with it, is, I think you know, and others probably have heard me talk about it, but I have a Plaud, Plaud, Plaud note that is on the back of my phone. It's in a magnetic case. It goes with me everywhere. And that's a recording device that captures whatever it is that I'm being, that I'm saying or whatever's being talked about. And then it transcribes the information. And then through a series of different GPTs, you can turn that into actionable notes. So is it a lecture? Is it a conversation? Is it a panel discussion? Is it, a sales? Is it an interview? And there's a variety of different kind of programs in the Plaud environment that allow for you to go in and basically understand it. So one of my other colleagues, and I'll get to the tough love thing here in just a second, he built, because he does a lot of speaking, he built a high level coach, speaker coach, custom GPT, and shared it with me. And he went out and he found some of the best public speakers, Simon Sinek, Steve Jobs, Anthony Robbins, all these people that do amazing speeches and get paid thousands of dollars to deliver keynote speeches, and brought in all their best practices and the things to look for and ways to transition, and built it with, you are an expert elite speaking coach. Offer up tough love, no BS, get right to the point. When you upload, and I put in a transcript, I put in my audio, I load up my slides, and essentially it asks me, well, who was in the audience and what did you want to accomplish? So it understands what my goal of the presentation was. And then it's no BS. It comes back and it ranks like 5 different areas out of a 10-point scale. And if you screw up something, or it's like, you were a 4 out of 10 here and you did not do this right, and here's what you need to do better. Luckily, today's came back with some nice scores, so I was happy to see that. And of course, I sent it to him and was all celebratory. But it is a no BS tool. And I don't know as if I would have team members that would be comfortable calling me out on some of the things that this tool called me out on, because they might not want to offend the boss or hurt my feelings, or, oh, it was really good. And, you always want to know how you really did. That it doesn't have feelings in that regard. Now, there is the tendency for AI to want to please you and be, what's the word for that? Psychophilic? Is that the right word? I don't know. There's some word that represents that, and it's hard to pronounce, and I probably just gave the wrong word. But AI wants to please you, so it will not necessarily give you tough love unless you ask for it. And he built that directly into the prompt so that it is not afraid to come at you and give you a punch right between the eyes. So that's kind of the long story of what the humans in our lives might not necessarily want to do. Doesn't mean they can't do it, but they may not want to do it because they don't want to hurt your feelings. So
fair enough.
There you go. I feel like that kind of ended anticlimactically. So there was just kind of like, oh, okay. Oh, next topic. What else do you have that has come across your desk or screen or world that would be worth having a chat about today?
That whole last part is what's worthy of having a chat about. I'm not so sure of. I was thinking the conference season for bankers is pretty much come to a close, and I got a notice from William Mills' firm that they're sending out the 2026 directory of conferences for banks and credit unions, and I thought about putting it on the list here. I don't know, is that acceptable for me to put that link out there?
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to see that as well. And
it's not a promotion. Anybody's getting paid anything on it. It's just
where bankers are going. So who knows? Yep. I know I'm going to be at the Financial Brand Forum. I've already got my tickets for that. I'm going to be at Social Media Marketing World in Anaheim, which is not banking related, but it's one of the events that I've been attending for several years. I think 2018 was the first year I went, and they're including a AI business conference as part of the Social Media Marketing World Conference in Anaheim. So that's in April. And I think those are both back to back. So it's either Vegas and then Anaheim, or Anaheim and then Vegas. And then I did book my tickets for the third week in October to go back to Cleveland, Ohio, to the Maycon conference. And again, not a banking conference, but you want to talk about some mind-blowing AI insight. I'm just, I don't even know if I can comprehend where AI will be a year from now, based off of what I heard at this past conference in October. So I've got those. Any of the conferences that were on that list that you're planning on attending?
Yeah, I'm going to do the Acquire or Be Acquired again this year.
Okay. I've
It's
never
a
done
great
AOBA
event.
before. I've heard that's really good.
Yeah, it's a great event. It's February 1st through the 3rd.
Okay.
So I'm going to do that, and they even finish up with a little pickleball tournament. So I'll get to participate in that too.
Flex your pickleball muscles, huh?
Yeah,
Nice.
give it a shot. So, but I did go ahead and put it out on the link there, so you'll
Cool.
get a link to it. Yeah.
Okay. Good deal. So, let's see. So you posted that out to LinkedIn in the chat, correct?
Yes, I did.
Good.
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes people will send direct messages through the Restream platform that don't make it into the LinkedIn area. So I just needed to make sure if I could copy and paste that, or if you're good. But you are always
it's out there, I think, for everybody. So,
always good.
Yeah.
So,
and it's free. They ask for your ID, of course, who you are, but they provide it, and I've gotten it over the years, so
cool.
I highly recommend it.
Sounds good. We have a compliment. I don't know if she's still here, but she posted this and then had to scoot. So thank you, Dana, for the compliment. We appreciate that, and glad that our ramblings are helpful and beneficial. So it's always good to know that. So thank you very much. So what's the other thing? You mentioned Notebook LM, and you know I'm a fan. I talked about it today in my session this morning. One of the things that's really cool about what has been introduced to Notebook LM recently, and just for a quick little recap, if you've not used it, you need to use it. Notebooklm.google. And you can put .com at the end, but you don't have to, because .google is a top-level domain, not a surprise. But you load up whatever information you want to learn or know more about. And the thing that's really cool about Notebook LM is it has a significantly decreased likelihood of things like hallucinations and incorrect and inaccurate information, because you control the information that goes into it. Whether you're doing a search and you're selecting and deselecting, or you're taking known, trusted PDFs or links to articles or YouTube videos that you know are correct, that information is what is being used to power the Notebook LM language model. And the other cool thing that I think is important to note, the data, whether you're using the free or the paid tool, does not get used to train the model. So doesn't mean that I'm suggesting dumping all your customer data and PII, but if you have something that's a little sensitive and you're kind of wondering, it's probably okay, but I'd really prefer it not to be in the language model and use it to learn, Notebook LM doesn't allow for that. In fact, if you don't save something as a note and you have a conversation, you get out and get back in, it's gone. It deletes it. So there's no even temporary storage. But one of the cool parts about Notebook LM that I noticed just the other day when I was building up another notebook on a topic is you can now use deep research. So Google Gemini, Claude, Perplexity, OpenAI, they all provide deep research functionality, which tells the model to spend more time thinking about the answer, double checking its work, going really deep and looking for only stuff that it really trusts. You can now use that as an example. And normally when you search for information inside of Notebook LM, it'll come back with 10 recommended sites. And those recommended sites will be added to your resources that then power all of your other stuff, your audio overviews, your video overviews, your flashcards, your quizzes, the things that Neil talked about. This thing did a deep research, and I had 45 sources of information that it pulled in that basically powered this notebook on a topic that I wanted to learn more about. it was mind blowing. And because hold on just a second, I just got a note from my MacBook Pro that it wants to do an update, and I hope it doesn't do this update while I'm right in the middle of a freaking live. So yeah, we'll see if that happens. But the deep research was absolutely mind blowing. That it pulled in all that, and the audio overview and the video. Wow, talk about a learning opportunity. It was phenomenal. So
here's a question for you though. So
yes.
I love the first round of the audio and the video overviews that it produced. But then I thought I'm going to prompt it to go in and kind of change it and do a couple things. And I didn't really feel like it got my prompt. It didn't follow my directions. Is there something, like I just did it in the prompt area? Is there something you can do to guide it a little more, or is it just
So one of the things when you go into Notebook LM, if you're in there, you're going to see all of the options on the right-hand side, the
Yep.
audio overview, the video overview. Make sure, one, that you're clicking on the pencil. That gives you the ability to go in and actually make a prompt. And it sounds like you've done that, but I don't know as if
Actually,
you can go.
I didn't.
You
Actually,
didn't.
I
Okay.
didn't see the pencil. I was just prompting it over in the chat area.
Yeah.
And
So click on the
so
pencil.
simple.
Click on the
Yeah.
pencil. Yeah. And so anytime you see a pencil for all of those, that is an area that gives you the ability. And if you go into the reports, it'll give you some suggested prompts. When you click on the pencil, you can see what it's actually come up with. And then if you want like a deep research or a executive briefing or a blog post, it'll give you, when you click on the pencil for each of those reports, what it's thinking it needs to use as the prompt. And then what I'll go in is I'll just tweak that, and I'll weave in, as an agency owner predominantly serving community banks, or as a consultant working with community banks on AI intuition adoption and strategic training. And then I can refine what Notebook LM comes up with to give it a much more pertinent. And the thing that I did, we've got a blog post out on our website, which is the recap of MACON. It includes the blog, it includes audio reading the blog, but there goes Neil. And he's coming back. So let me grab him. Hold on just a second. So it includes the blog, but it also includes the audio overview. When I prompted it, I did it twice. But what I did the second time, and I don't think it came out too salesy, schmalesy, because I don't want to be that guy. But my prompt was, hey, I just got done attending a 2.5-day conference called MACON, 1,500 people. My mind was blown, and I loaded up all my notes and presentations and whatnot. And I said, I need you to create a podcast overview from the perspective of an agency owner serving community banks. And when you get to portions of this where you feel a bank might have problems doing it themselves, it might get a little complex and technical, might be a little outside of their area of expertise, gently weave in the fact that WSI is here to help with consultative services or coaching. And at the end, make mention that you don't have to go it alone. There are organizations out there, and WSI is one that's happy to help. And I listened to it, and I was very pleased that it had the right references. Like if I were to write a blog post with just some subtle calls to action woven into the body copy, so that it's not an overt hire me, hire me, hire me, but it had enough conspicuous to it, and it put it in the right spot. Like, this can get really complicated, but you don't have to do it alone. And I was really excited, because now it's almost like a little mini sales agent for me that can produce this type of content, that just as a gentle reminder that, as a service provider, as a bank, hey, don't forget, if you're thinking about buying a house, you've got a lot of things to think about. Stop by, visit one of our mortgage loan officers. We're here to help. We've done this many, many times. No question is a dumb question. There's so many different ways with that magic little pencil. to modify your prompt to really get those hosts to say what you want them to say. I'm really excited now that you know about the pencil secret to catch some of your videos and
Right
audio.
there.
Yeah. So
Well, Eric, all I can think of as you are giving this great insight is that if we're building power facilities to power all of these data centers, I wonder if Eric Cook's power demand is like this much greater than my power demand. I just can't tell.
I don't know if they're going to be able to track that back, and we're going to get some sort of an addendum on our taxes. Oh, and by the way, here's your AI consumption fee for the year. And you need to dial it back a little, Mr. Cook, because you're creating too many Sora videos with golden retrievers, and it's consuming way too much content. So yeah, my bandwidth and CPU usage is probably through the roof. But yeah, that's crazy. So anything else to add in the final few minutes that we have together from either of you? Closing thoughts?
I have a lot to learn. Thank you for teaching.
Oh, yeah. Everybody has a lot to learn. I'm looking forward to you coming on next week. And, I think people will think they understand culture. And then after we get done spending an hour with you, people be of the same mindset. Like, wow, I've got a lot to learn. But that's what makes the world go around. And that's why I love these things. And that's why I love when friends show up and share their insights and their observations, because we all bring something unique to the world and to others. And that's the great part about being human. So it's pretty cool.
Let me throw one last thing in then, given
Yes,
the
sir.
human. My wife a year ago started participating in an outreach for the people here in the urban area of Omaha, and you wouldn't know that Omaha had a lot of that, but it is so powerful when you talk to people who you're just giving them a free meal and some stuff. My wife did a clothes drive, a coat drive, and it just, I'm not touting us as being special on that, but if you want to see humanity, go talk to people who are on the street, and it makes everything super real. So just a thought there.
I even had that in the back of my mind when I was flying yesterday. I mean, these TSA agents have been working for 40 days without a paycheck. And every one of them was very gracious. I said, hey, I want to just thank you for being here. And they're like, appreciate that. And I said, I hope you're getting a lot of that from the travelers, because you guys deserve it. And you deserve a paycheck. And they said, actually, everybody's been really cool. So, it's, people can be jerks sometimes, but then people can just be freaking awesome. And it's nice when the freaking awesome happens. So kudos to you and your wife for making it, because those are people that might have been impacted by the food and the food stamps, and they might be government workers. You have no idea what's going on in their world, but you're making a difference. So that's really cool.
The 16-year-old that we often help, she's special, but she was going to have a mother of one of her friends was going to bring a bunch of pizzas. Guess what? She's called up and said, no, I can't make them. Well, we didn't ask why, but we're pretty sure it probably had something to do with the government. And so we said, okay, this is time for us to step up. We can help with the party. But, pizza time.
Pizza time. Cool.
Got it.
Good. Well, maybe that can be our closing thought. Those of you that are listening, whether you're live or you catch this, think about what's one cool thing that you can do for another human being in the next 24 hours. Is it giving them some money, buying them something, just a simple thank you? Think about what's one thing that you can do in the next 24 hours that's going to make somebody's day, make them smile, make them breathe a little easier, give them the relaxed shoulders like we talked about at the beginning. That's your goal. So go forth and make it happen. Be awesome. So cool. All right. I appreciate you guys, and thanks for being here. I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. And then for those that are wanting to, we'll be back again second Thursday of December at 5 p.m. Eastern for our final LinkedBanker Happy Hour of the year. So it'll be good. Maybe we'll have everybody go around and you can read off your Christmas list, what you're asking Santa Claus for. We'll go through that. So cool. Excellent. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great evening. See you, everybody. Bye-bye.